Hello, people of YouTube and the world. It's Daisy. I'm gonna do another video, and I'm gonna mainly make this about awareness of not only personality disorders, which is what I suffer with, but I will focus on that because that's probably one of the least understood illnesses. And I'm gonna maybe speak a wee bit about eating disorders, but not too much because I feel like people can get focused on this sort of stuff and that, and maybe about ways of coping with self-harm and stuff, but mainly awareness about most illnesses and how people with mental illness can come across to other people, and people will find it hard to understand, even if they think they know everything about mental health. As soon as it comes down to it and someone that they know is acting different, it's hard to understand why they're feeling like this, especially if you think they've had a brilliant life. But the main thing you need to learn to understand about mental illness is someone can have the perfect life, or someone can have the shittest life, and they can come up with the situation completely different. I know people that have had, as far as I know, everything they need in life: a loving family, friends, they don't have any confidence problems or anything. They get to go on holidays every year, which not many people get, but they're really, really ill with their mental health, and it can, for some people, it can be something as small as they can be feeling a bit self-conscious about their arms, or like thinking they're chubby or something, or it can be something that they got bullied when they were little, and even though they got everything perfect now, when they were little, they were going through a bit of a hard time, and then someone says something that can be small, like, or someone can just look at you in a funny way, and it can trigger it off. And most people don't understand that, because people will be like, how can you do all that stuff when you've got a perfect life? No one has a perfect life. Everyone has problems, and just because they may be smaller than they're like things that have happened in the past may be smaller from outside look to everyone, doesn't make it any less distressing for the person that's going through it. And that's kind of important for people to start understanding, because most people think you need to have had lots and lots of trauma or something in your life. And some people, yes, have had a lot of trauma and become ill with it. But then some people have had so much trauma in their life and they come out really, really fighting and not beaten down by it at all. And that doesn't mean the people that are ill are fighting any less, but they just find it harder to accept what's happened and find like inner peace and stuff. So first thing I'm going to speak about is eating disorders, and that I'm not going to go into too much detail, but as most people know about anorexia and stuff, but people think an anorexic has to be a very skinny person, has to make themselves sick all the time, not eat at all. People still have this weird idea that anorexics don't eat at all. I was anorexic for years. I had bulimia as well, and I ate, but I just restricted it to an extent that it caused me to become unwell. But people seem to think anorexics don't go near food. Most of them, and people think anorexics or bulimics hate food. Every anorexic I know, or anyone with eating disorder problems, are the biggest foodies ever. They love food. They love being around food. They love making food. They love creating new things with food. And personally, they actually love food. And sometimes it can be the fact they love food so much that they get a fear of it. Because that sounds a bit bizarre, but sometimes if you love something so much, you become, especially like food, and people focus on diet and that, you begin to think something's wrong with you and you need to stop being like that. Which is ridiculous, because it's understandable that someone can get that in their mind with all the things that's on the like internet, all the things that's on TV, dieting pills, things like this, constant reminders that you need to be this really stick-to-the model. But yeah, back to the point. No, not everyone with an eating disorder. Yes, some people, and it's actually probably rarer to be underweight with an eating disorder than it is to be healthy weight, because a lot of people, even though they restrict their eating and that, they might have problems with binging or something, or they might overindulge sometimes, not quite binging, but they might overindulge after restricting so much, and they end up maintaining the healthy weight. But it doesn't make them any less ill, because it's a mindset, and it really, really, really annoys me that doctors still have it in their head that you have to be below a certain weight to get help. They have completely forgot the obvious, name eating disorders. It says in its name, it's disordered eating. It's nothing to do with weight. It's all about the person having distorted thoughts on what food should be like. Food is there to be not only to survive but to enjoy. It wouldn't taste nice if it wasn't there to enjoy. It would just be fuel, like a car gets petrol. But it's there for us to enjoy and get pleasure out of, and for social occasions and that, for birthdays, people like going out for meals and that. But people eating disorders miss out on all this because it becomes something bad in their life. Eating becomes something they feel like they have to feel guilty over and punish themselves for, and that's the main problem. Like, people need to stop saying, I'm not ill with an eating disorder because I'm above this weight. But they only get this thought in their head because that's what doctors are telling them. I want to go on and campaign. This is what I want to do against the services in eating disorders. Like, I want to improve them. I want to make sure that people get help no matter what weight they are, or no matter what stage in the eating disorder they are. The quicker you get help, the better off it is. And it actually ends up costing the NHS less money to give someone help at an early stage and them get better a bit quicker than to leave them to become underweight or severely physically unhealthy and then admit them into hospital and they're paying for inpatient treatment. It's ridiculous. Like, anyone that begins to show signs of distorted eating patterns should receive the help they need, and it kind of feeds into, because as well as like personality disorders, quite a lot of people with eating disorders have personality disorders. They feel like no one cares, and they're like making things up and that, and then when someone turns them away when they're asking for help, that confirms this belief and they feel abandoned again, like I was speaking in another video. But basically, I just want to say, I had eating disorder for a very long time. I got very unwell with it. I had to be hospitalised and that. I'm not going to go into weights and everything like that because that's very triggering for some people. But I just want to show you how healthy I am now. This is my stomach, and I'm confident enough to wear a belly top. I have chub on my hips. I don't care. I have a wee bit here. It's healthy. I have quite normal sized arms. I don't think they're big, but I'm not stick thin, no. And to be honest, I love my body this way. I love the fact that sometimes I get rolls on my stomach because that's normal. It means I'm healthy. It means my organs are protected. It means there's room for improvement as well without having to lose weight. It means you need to have weight there to gain muscle or something. And I'm quite keen on doing that when I'm physically better, to start gaining muscle mass. And I don't care if I gain weight, and I'm not going to become obsessed with it. And I used to have a problem with exercise, but it's been a long time since I've done that. So I'm taking the slow steps to get into that again. I'm just starting with stretching. So right, enough about eating disorders now. I think I've explained that pretty well. I'll go on to speak quickly about self-harm. People think that self-harm is all about getting attention. And the annoying thing is, sometimes it is. But what is wrong with that? That is a problem in itself. People have got this warped view on what attention seeking means. Attention seeking means a person is in that much distress that they feel like they need to hurt themselves in order to get someone to care about them and get people to notice how much distress they're in. Attention seeking is not a bad thing. It's an illness. It's not something you should feel guilty about or people should use as offensive towards you. Like, to me, anyone that feels like they need to seek attention has got something going on a lot bigger than that. Because to go to the extreme of hurting yourself or putting yourself in a bad situation or something, it does, or even lying, like to get people's attention, it's not, it doesn't make you a bad person. It means you're really, really emotionally hurting, that you feel like you need to do something to seek help. And I wish people would get their heads around that, because even when I was in hospital this year, a nurse would come up to me, oh Daisy, you're cutting again, and you're such an attention seeker and that, in hospital. And I found that offensive at that time because I didn't quite understand myself, like what attention seeking actually is. And I don't think nurses and that do either. They still seem to think it's something bad. They've went through I'd agree. Why do they still not understand that? I've not, and I understand it. So I hope that people can go on to get a better understanding of that, and that self-harming and self-destructive behaviours is not because they want everyone to be looking at them and they enjoy attention. They're doing something to grab people's attention, to get their self-help and get themselves some care in that. And they're feeling that rubbish that they've gone to that extreme to get that. And you shouldn't be judging them. You should be trying to understand what's going on, trying to get them help for that, not sitting bitching to people about it and making this person feel even crappier about themselves for doing it. But basically, for me, self-harming was a load of different reasons. To begin with, it was because I felt like to be cared for, you needed to be hurting. And that started when I was really young, like about 7. I started like causing injuries to get worse. And like I would fall over something that'd make it worse because I thought the worse the injury, the more my dad or something will care about me. Which sounds ridiculous, but like when you're young, you don't quite get your head around this, and this kind of kept feeding in, and then I began to be more aware of what was going on, and I'd see people with scars and stuff like that, and that never triggered me or caused me to, because I never blame anyone for it. But I already had that in my mind about doing something like that, and then for me it became a punishment for overeating when I had my eating disorder, and then it went on to when I was hearing voices and that, it would be a release, or I would be told to do it by a voice, and I'd feel like I had to do it, if not someone else would get harmed. And then for a while it was like attention seeking. It was a cry for help because most people had walked away from me, and I wanted, and the professionals in that, like if they started like thinking I was okay and I didn't feel okay, I would do it because I was like, I want you to help me still. I'm not ready for you to back away yet. But I've got to the stage where I've realised that's not the way to go about it. The way to go about it is actually word of mouth, and sometimes that's not always taken as seriously. And you shouldn't beat yourself up over that. You should just try and really explain yourself and fight for yourself, defend yourself. Don't let a doctor, push you down because you're not doing the things that are like textbook. You're actually speaking, and some people think if you can speak about your problems, you don't have a problem. That's ridiculous. The strongest people and the people that have got through stuff have went on to learn that speaking about stuff actually does get you somewhere. And I hope that people can go on to learn that, because I'm not expecting everyone to stop self-harming straight away as soon as they see a video about someone saying about it, because it doesn't work like that. I just want people to realise that it's not a bad thing. It's a bad coping mechanism, yes, but it's not something you should beat yourself up over. It can be a wee blip, and it doesn't mean you're ill again or you're getting ill. It just means you've made a little mistake, and you've done something that's hurt yourself, and you need to make up for that by trying to do something really, really nice for yourself. And even if you don't feel like you deserve it, force yourself. Like, even if it's going to see your favourite film at the cinema that's just came out, or buying a popcorn mix and having a little movie night by yourself, or I don't mind. You shouldn't mind. As long as it makes you feel good, you should go for it. Because everyone deserves to feel good, no matter if you have done bad things, or if you feel like you've done bad things. I'm pretty sure you would have had a reason behind that, why you acted in a certain way. And I don't believe that any person is a truly bad person. Like, maybe a few people, like, I'm not going to defend some people, but there's always an underlying problem to cause people to go on to behave in a certain way. And I don't judge anyone. Like, they may do some things like that in their head is extremely bad. Like, they might get in fights, or they might steal, or something like that. And you need to realise that this is just another way you're trying to cope and trying to show people how upset and angry you are of how things have went. And it doesn't make you a bad person, it just makes you a person that's struggling a lot or been through a lot, and you're trying to learn ways to cope, make yourself feel better, even if they're not the right way. But I'll make another few videos or something if I don't know. I'd like a response from people who watch it, like even a comment. So I know I'm not speaking to a brick wall. I don't really care if I am. It's helping me actually to try get it out in the world and try do my bit, even if no one's watching. So I hope you are all having a nice day. It's early in the morning here in Scotland, so I've been not sleeping well, so decided to get up and do some stretching and have a wee dance about, make myself feel better, release some endorphins, maybe go make myself some porridge and probably cuddle up for a bit, speak to my friend. My friend's coming around later, so I'm quite excited. So have a nice day and do something good for yourself. You should deserve it.